ghost girl stood in the middle of the hair shop, frozen in anger. Her mother had finally done what she refused to let her do when she was alive. She had sold her hair, and even though her mother had left, the ghost girl remained in the hair shop. The shop owner locked the doors that night, humming a song as he placed the hair on the shelf. He never noticed the icy chill that had settled over his shop. When he left, the ghost girl stayed behind, waiting patiently for who will buy and wear her hair. The next morning, when he opened the shop, she was still there. The hair shop was warm, filled with scent of fresh shampoo and disinfectant. Wigs, weaves, and colorful hair extensions hung from the shelf, neatly displayed like trophies. The young shop owner, a man in his late 20s, sat behind the counter, flipping through a stack of money. Business had been good. Women came in and out all day, buying expensive wigs, laughing, chatting about the latest hairstyles. He barely looked up when the shop door went open, letting a rush of cold air. At first, he thought it was just another customer, but when he finally glanced up, his smile faded. A woman stood at the entrance, looking nothing like his usual customer. Her clothes were old, torn at the edges, her feet were bare and covered in dust. Her face was thin, her eyes sunken, like someone who had not eaten well in weeks. In her trembling hands, she held a bunch of thick black hair tied with a red string. Her lips parted, but her voice barely came out. Slowly, she walked forward, not stopping until she reached the counter. Then, to the shop owner's shock, she dropped to her knees. "Please," she let out, her voice weak and dry. "Please buy this hair. I have nothing left. I am poor." The shop fell silent. The few customers inside turned to stare. The shop owner frowned, staring at the woman kneeling before him. He had seen poor people before, but there was something different about this one. Her face held an expression of deep pain, pain that went beyond hunger or poverty. He looked down at the hair she held out to him. It was beautiful, long and smooth, far better than most of the hair in his shop. He knew he would sell it for a good price, yet something about it made him skeptical. He sighed, rubbing his chin. He didn't want to buy the hair. Something inside him warned him against it, but he looked at the woman again, at the way her fingers shook and she held out the hair, at the way her eyes pleaded without words. After a long pause, he finally nodded. "Fine," he said, "I'll buy it." The woman's jaw dropped, her lips trembling. Tears spilled from her eyes as she bowed her head, sobbing quietly. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." She clutched the money he gave her, holding it close to her chest like it was the most precious thing in the world. Slowly, she stood up, wiped her tears, and turned to leave. But she was not alone. No one noticed the little girl standing beside her, a 10-year-old girl with bowed hair. Her face was pale, her dark eyes burning with anger. Her fists were tightened at her sides. She stood completely still, staring at the shop owner with an expression so fierce, so filled with silent rage, that if anyone had been able to see her, they might have screamed. But no one saw her. No one felt the icy chill in the air. As her mother walked out of the shop, she remained where she was. She refused to leave. She stared at the bundle of hair that had just been sold, the red string still tied around it. Something inside her moved like a burning coal, and then, like a flash of lightning, memories flooded her mind. She was 5 years old again, standing in front of her mother. Her long hair fell around her like a thick curtain, brushing against her tiny feet. The village woman would stop to stare at her. They would whisper in hushed voices, "She looks like a princess. No one in this village has hair like this. She's special." She had loved her hair. It made her different. It made her beautiful. But then she remembered her mother kneeling before her just like today. "Please," her mother had begged, "let me cut your hair. We have no food." She had screamed, cried, and held onto her hair as if her life depended on it. "No," she shouted, "never." Her mother had sighed, wiping her own tears. That was the last time they spoke about it. And now the ghost girl stood in the middle of the hair shop, frozen in anger. Her mother had finally done what she refused to let her do when she was alive. She had sold the hair. She even though the woman had left, the ghost girl remained. The shop owner locked the doors that night, humming a song as he placed the hair on the shelf. He never noticed the icy chill that settled over his shop. When he left, the ghost girl stayed behind. The next morning, when he opened the shop, she was still there. Customers came and went, chatting, laughing, buying and selling. The shop owner moved around, showing off his best wigs, styling customers' hair, counting his money. No one saw the little girl standing in the middle of the shop, her dark eyes burning with rage. No one felt the cold air around her. Days passed, she never moved, she never blinked, she waited. She was waiting for the person who would buy and wear her hair. The small hair shop was full of life as customers walked in and out, laughing and chatting. The shop owner moved around, arranging wigs and weaves, not knowing that the little ghost girl was still standing in the same spot. She had not moved for days. She was waiting for the person that would buy her hair. And finally, that day came. A young Nigerian lady walked into the shop. She was beautiful, dressed in a stylish outfit with long eyelashes and neatly braided hair. She smiled as she looked around, picking different types of hair extensions. "I need plenty of hair," she told the shop owner, placing bundles on the counter. She kept selecting, one after the other, and then, without knowing, she picked the ghost girl's already processed hair. The bundle was neatly tied, even packaged, looking like as smooth as beautiful as the day it was cut. The shop owner smiled as he counted the hair and told her the price. The young lady paid in cash, collected her bag, and walked towards the door. As soon as she turned to leave, the ghost girl turned too. She followed. She walked right behind the young lady, her small fists tightened in anger. No one saw, no one felt the icy wind that followed her footsteps. She moved like a shadow, silent and unseen. The young lady had no idea she was being followed by something from the other world. The young lady walked down the street, carrying her new hair bundles with excitement. She entered the hotel and checked into a beautiful room. The ghost girl followed her inside. She stood by the door, her dark eyes watching the lady angrily. That night, as the young lady had dinner, the ghost girl stood in a corner staring at her. As she took her bath, washing her hair and singing happily, the ghost girl was there standing behind her. As she lay down to sleep, turning off the light, the ghost girl stood by the bed, watching her with burning eyes. Morning came, and the young lady got ready to leave. She packed her bags, checked out of the hotel, and took a taxi to the airport. The ghost girl walked right behind her. When she reached the airport, she sat in the waiting room. The ghost girl stood beside her, never blinking. She followed her onto the plane. The flight attendant smiled at the young lady, helped her find her seat, and offered her snacks. But none of them noticed the 10-year-old girl standing right beside her seat. Her face was cold as ice. The plane took off, flying back to Nigeria. But the ghost girl was still there. She stood beside the young lady the entire journey, watching her, waiting for what would happen next. Finally, the plane landed, and the young lady went home. The ghost girl followed her all the way. The next day, the young lady went to her own shop. It was a beautiful salon with shelves full of hair extensions, wig, and other beauty products. She arranged the hair she had bought, placing them on display for customers. The ghost girl was there. She stood near the shelf where her hair was placed. She was waiting for the person that would wear her hair. That night, the ghost girl was still in the shop. The place was dark and quiet, with only the sound of the wind blowing outside. The young lady had locked up and gone home, but the ghost girl remained inside. Far away in another town, her mother was asleep, but suddenly she had a strange dream. She saw her daughter standing before her, just as she had been when she was alive. Only this time, her face was full of anger. "Why did you sell my hair?" the ghost girl asked, her voice sharp and cold. "Why, Mama? You promised you wouldn't." Her mother gasped in fear. I had no choice," she whispered in the dream, tears rolling down her face. "I was suffering. I needed money to survive." The ghost girl's eyes darkened. "You should not have sold my hair," she said. "Now, I will deal with whoever bought it." Her mother jerked awake, her heart pounding. She sat up, looking around in the darkness. She was sweating, though the night was cold. She covered her mouth with shaking hands. "Oh God," she whispered, "what have I done?" Back in the young lady's shop, morning came. She arrived early, ready for a new day of business. She did not see the ghost girl standing in the corner watching. Not long after, a customer walked in. She was a rich woman with gold jewelry and a designer handbag. She scanned the shelf looking for the perfect hair to buy, and then her eyes fell onto the ghost girl's hair. "This one looks beautiful," she said, picking up the bundle. The young lady smiled. "Yes, it's high quality. You will love it." The rich woman nodded and paid for the hair. The moment she turned to leave, the ghost girl turned too. She followed. The rich woman arrived home with a bright smile on her face. She was so happy. She dropped her handbag on the table and brought out the new hair she had just bought. The hair was soft, long, and silk. It was the most beautiful hair she had ever seen. Holding it in her hand, she admired it, turned it left and right, but she didn't know she was not alone. The hair remained untouched as it was kept on the table, and the ghost girl remained in the house. She never left, never moved, she only waited. Then finally the day came. The woman was getting ready for a big party. She wore her best dress, applied makeup, and looked at herself in the mirror. She was so excited. "Tonight, I must look my best," she said to herself with a big smile. She turned to the table and picked up the hair. "It's time to wear my new hair," she said happily. She placed it on her hair, adjusting it carefully. She turned her head left and right, admiring herself in the mirror. "Perfect," she whispered. The ghost girl stood behind her watching, but this time there was a smirk on her face. The woman grabbed her purse and left for the party, completely unaware that something was very, very wrong. The party was loud and full of laughter. People danced, drank, and had a good time. The woman was the center of attention. Everyone complimented her on her beautiful hair. "You look amazing," one of her friends said. "That hair fits you so well," another one added. The woman laughed proudly, tossing her hair over her shoulders. She felt beautiful. She felt special. She felt like the queen of the night. But she did not know that something terrible was waiting for her. Hours later, she returned home tired and drunk. She kicked off her shoe, dropped her purse on the table, and fell on her bed without even changing her clothes. She did not bother removing her hair. She just closed her eyes and slept. The ghost girl stood by the bed, staring at her. She did not blink. She did not move. She was waiting. Morning came. The woman yawned and stretched, rubbing her sleepy eyes. She stood up slowly and walked to the bathroom to take a shower. She reached for her hair to take it off, but something was wrong. As she pulled the hair, she felt a sharp pain in her head. It felt as if something was pulling her skin. She stopped and frowned. "What was that?" she muttered. She tried again. This time the hair came up, but along with hers. She did not notice at first. She only felt a light wet drop on her shoulder. She froze slowly. She raised her hand and touched her shoulder. Another drop of liquid fell. She looked at her fingers. They were covered in something red. Her heart stopped. She ran to the mirror, and that was when she saw it. Her head was completely bald. The skin had peeled off, and the red liquid was dripping down from her face. Her eyes widened in horror. She opened her mouth to scream, but before she could make a sound, her vision blurred, her legs wobbled, and she collapsed to the floor. The last thing she saw before everything went dark was a little girl standing beside her holding the hair. The ghost girl looked down at the woman, her face expressionless. She bent down, picked up her hair, and gently placed it back on her own head, and then she disappeared. And that was it. We've come to the end of this amazing story. I hope you did enjoy it. If this is your first time, drum rolls, grrr, you're highly welcome to Obiageli Stories. Please invite your friends and your family so that we'll have a larger audience. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button and turn on your bell button for video updates. For my returning subscribers, a big thank you.